I'm Brian Tracy, and welcome to the Brian Tracy Show. Today we have a remarkable man, Christopher Meza, who is going to give us some ideas on how you can achieve wealth probably faster, more predictably, and more consistently than you might have ever believed possible, and it's going to be in a way that's very different from the way most people do it. Christopher, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Delighted to have you. Now, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I am the leading expert in arguably the most profitable real estate investment strategy in the world called land banking. Right. Land banking is the practice of buying land in the direct path of development.
Right.
As those developments complete, my investors and I are left in the unique position to profit substantially. Now, right. Get this. Most people believe there's only two types of real estate, undeveloped and developed. Undeveloped is to buy land in the middle of nowhere. I don't do that.
Right.
And developed is to do what everyone else does, which is to buy a condo, a home, apartment building, shopping center, hotel, so on and so forth. I don't do that either. What most people don't even realize exists is a third type of real estate right before the property becomes developed,
yes,
called pre-developed real estate.
Right.
And I am the leading expert in pre-developed real estate.
Wow. Now, I've heard that many times real estate follows the 80-20 rule, is for 80% of the time that it's there, it's pretty much flat or increasing very slowly in value. And then in the last 20% of time, it goes up in value enormously.
Yes.
This is pre-developed real estate.
Yes.
And your job is to help people to identify real estate that fits that profile.
Yes, the main point, if I had to pick one thing and boil it down to just one point, is you have to make sure the property is in a direct path of development.
Right.
Now, I am the expert in recognizing the direct path of development. I am not a magician, and I do not guess. I analyze very complex data and leverage unique relationships that I've built with developers, planners, city officials to make sure that property is in a direct path of development.
Yeah.
Now, I no longer work as an engineer, but I use my engineering background to make sure that all this analysis and all the stars align, that property is in the direct path of development.
Well, you know, everything in business is numbers. And so your engineering background enables you to analyze these numbers, the rate of development, demographic changes, population changes, income changes, and so on, that can pretty much predict where the land values are going to go up. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. You can very much predict where it's going to go up.
So why have you chosen this? You're a very talented guy. You could do anything. What is your motivation or passion for being in this business?
I have a degree in engineering, and I used to work for the Boeing company. And while I was working for Boeing, I met a man that was about 70 years old, and he had several patents for the Boeing company.
Right.
Now, while I was working there with him, and this guy is definitely a genius, I just had to ask him. I said, with all of your success and all of your accomplishments, why are you still working here? And I expected that he was going to say something like, because I love what I do. I was not at all prepared for what he actually told me. What he said to me was, Chris, my wife, she's very sick, and my medical benefits will not fully cover her medical expenses if I retire. So I cannot retire at this point. And this was just, it just really hit me like a ton of bricks. And at that point in my time, at that point in my life, I was in the process of retiring myself. My investments in land banking had reached a point where all I had to do was manage my investments, and I could literally sustain my lifestyle without having to have a job. And now I'm here with this man that he says he can't retire. So I said to myself, I can't just retire and do nothing. I need to help other people discover how they too can secure themselves financially.
Right.
There are just so many people, so many talented people, so many hardworking people that just don't know how they can secure themselves financially. And I feel compelled to help these people to discover the wealth in land banking.
Wow. Now, can you give us some little bit of ideas of what you do? What is the products or services that our viewers can get from you to help them to achieve financial independence through land banking?
Sure. The main point, again, is that we want to be in a direct path of growth.
Right.
So once we've looked at all the data and we've analyzed it and we make sure all the stars align,
right,
that's when we know it's in a direct path of growth. And I can share that opportunity with a potential investor. So if he chooses to invest, I will literally hold his hand through the process,
Right.
helping him to respond to unsolicited communications, even helping him to negotiate the highest and best price for his property.
Right.
Now, I understand what I do is very complicated and a very systematic approach to investing, and not everyone can just do this on their own.
No.
But what I've built is a system where anyone can discover the wealth in land banking.
So what happens is you buy the land and it just increases progressively in value at a far higher rate than you'd get in a traditional investment. But there's no taxable event that takes place. The land just increases in value. And then you help people sell it so they don't have to be involved in the ultimate development of the land or the property. They just hold it for a certain period of time, almost like buying French wine and holding it while it matures and selling it at a higher price later.
Absolutely. That's absolutely correct. If you don't mind, I want to give you an example.
Yes.
I have a gentleman that I met when he just recently turned 50. And he told me that in his 20s and 30s, he was not at all interested in investing. He had his mind on other things. Then when he reached his 40s, he wanted to invest, but the problem was that he didn't have the money. All his money was being tied up because the kids were in college, he had the house, he had the car notes, so he just couldn't invest. And now he was 50, and he says to me, hey, I'm supposed to be retiring soon, and I just went through a divorce. I only have $400,000, and now I only have $150,000. And he just told me, he said, Chris, I'm not gonna be able to retire. I'm gonna be working for the rest of my life. And that's when I just told him, I said, you know, cheer up. Let me tell you something. In order for you to make greater than average returns with less risk, you have to do something different. You have to do something that the masses are not doing, and that's pre-developed real estate.
Right.
So why don't you take a look at this? And he said, sure. So he invested his $150,000 into 2 properties. Now within 5 years, his properties have appreciated to over $500,000. So he has a clear path to retirement. He's excited. He's buying more pre-developed real estate, and he totally gets it. And another fact that I love is that in my business, the average age of my client is 52 because they get it. They've seen so many cities in their lifetime develop and completely change over the last 10, 15, 20, and even 30 years that when I show them this data, they go, Chris, not only will this happen, it has to happen.
Wow. But how do people get in touch with you? How do people contact you to get more information to use your services?
It's so simple. You can go to rtaland.com.
Right.
And on our website, we've built the go-to website for anything related to land, from land investment news to land current events to even other investment strategies, so you can kind of compare and see the difference there.
Right.
So you could just go to rtaland.com. You will see our email, our phone numbers, our social networks. So there's several ways to keep in touch. And one little secret here, we have a bi-weekly newsletter that gives you lots of very tangible, good information.
Right.
And you can get that newsletter delivered by email in the comfort of your home every 2 weeks by just signing up on rtaland.com.
Thank you so much, Christopher.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. It's a real pleasure. Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you.